Hey guys, Kyle the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for Fire Force Episode 8. Just kind of starting off, the episode begins with an anime-only scene of a mystery man, like, talking on the phone to someone called the French Evangelist. And this scene and the flashback scene of Company 8 kind of does two things. One pretty much good thing and one bad thing. The first thing, which is the good thing that pretty much these two scenes do, is that it reveals to us that the name of the main person who's pulling the strings behind these artificial infernal attacks and the method behind it, which is using these basically infernal bugs. So I think this was something that was actually revealed later on in the. I think if I understand correctly, this was something that was kind of revealed later on, or some. I think when it comes to learning the name of this person, the evangelist, I think it was something that was revealed later on in the series, but we basically learned it a little earlier here. So yeah, that was the good thing. Now, as far as the bad part of this, with the bad part with this anime only scene like this, is that it makes the basically later reveal of Rekka being the culprit behind these current attacks a little less emotionally surprising. I mean, it was still impactful. Don't get me wrong. Like it just pretty much learning that Rekka had betrayed everyone in Company 1. That it was still impactful in that way, but it loses a little bit of that shock value if you really know what to look for in that telephone booth scene, and just overall it just kind of spoils it pretty much spoils it spoils the mystery for you. It spoils the mystery for you early on, even before it spoils the mystery a little early for you. But yeah, overall, it is still a very impactful scene, But yeah, that just that one anime only scene they added, kind of has a double-edged sword effect to it almost. I mean, I get why it's there, but yeah. Aside from that, though, as far as the adaptation, it was once again pretty good. David Productions kind of did the exact same thing they've been doing for a while, which is rearranging certain scenes in order to streamline the pacing. But other than that, yeah, it's been pretty standard by what we've come to expect. One scene they cut that basically pretty much threw me off a little bit. One scene that I think kind of threw me off a little bit is there was a scene even before the one where the man was being transformed into an infernal that had Company 8 like from fighting a small group of infernals, and I don't get why that particular scene was cut, because it wasn't necessarily graphic or anything. In fact by most standards it was kind of tame. So it was a scene that, weirdly enough, it just felt like a pointless cut. It never really. It just seemed like a scene that really didn't need to be cut, and I don't know why it was cut. Like it wasn't really graphic or anything, so I wonder why. I mean, I guess you could argue it's just a pointless scene. I guess there's an argument to me that it might have been a pointless scene and kind of a scene to cut away, and just a scene you can kind of cut out of the overall adaptation. But yeah, it's a weird. That's the one scene, weirdly enough, that kind of threw me off. On the flip side of that, though, one thing I'm actually surprised by with this episode is that with pretty much the way that the censorship has been going lately, I never expected David Productions in order to fully follow through with that scene of Rekka injecting the kid with the bug, but. Damn, they really didn't hold back. I thought there would be there would be a moment throughout that scene where they might cut away or something like that. But no, they panel by panel they pretty much adapted that scene, and they didn't hold back on showing us the transformation. I mean, art and animation, you could argue maybe not the greatest, but they still showed it in its entirety. So yeah, I'm a little surprised by that. Now, now the thing with that scene is that because the kid didn't die or even turned into an infernal, it can be assumed that what happened is that he basically inherited some kind of latent fire some latent fire powers, and now he has the exact same powers as basically Shinra and every other pretty much pretty much second and third generation fire soldier now, which in itself is a pretty heavy reveal because it shows that Infernals are really just people who either aren't able to control their latent power or have it forcefully awakened through these bugs rather than have it naturally develop. And like I said, with this whole thing with a lot of these reveals, it does kind of show that it does clue us in now as to the origins of the Infernals now, the pretty much and how pretty much they're made, like. We've been pretty much assuming that pretty much that the fire soldiers have been naturally imbued with these powers, but really, if this episode itself, it's kind of saying to us that everyone has these latent abilities in order to control fire. It's really a matter of basically how these abilities are awakened, and if the people who awaken these powers even have the fortitude and the will in order to control them properly. If you don't have that, then you're basically going to turn into an infernal, and yeah, like that's essentially what they're saying here, and it's pretty fucked up if you think about it. But yeah, now also, can I just say, poor Tamaki. I mean, this episode shows just how much admiration and respect that Tamaki had for Rekka, and to have all that come crumbling down in a single instant, by her finding out how much of a murderous scumbag he is, you really can't help to feel for her, despite how much of a walking fan service joke she's been up till now. And I normally don't talk about about the acting, but the actress playing Tamaki really sold it on the emotional turmoil from Tamaki just knowing that Rekka from Tamaki knowing just pretty much what pretty much Rekka was really like. And the final scene of Tamaki crying was the peak of this, because the actress she pretty much didn't even overplay that sadness, but played it just where she needed to in order to show how broken Tamaki had become from this whole experience. Like, it really just showed that pretty much Tamaki, she had her Tamaki. It pretty much showed how it pretty much showed the big thing I think with this episode is what it is pretty much it basically humanized humanized Tamaki, and it pretty much showed just how it pretty much showed just pretty much how much Rekka's betrayal had affected her, with pretty much Tamaki and Rekka's connection is something that arguably has been kind of built up and has been kind of a little bit of a story point that's being kind of subtly built up in the last couple episodes up to now. But everything that happened in this episode just pretty much it brought everything to the forefront, and yeah, just it showed just pretty much how easily someone's trust can be shattered, in how the trust you put in someone, it can be shattered quite easily. Also, art and animation had its. Also, I will admit, art and animation had its good points and bad points throughout the episode, but it was in those final moments of the episode where pretty much Tamaki was just emotionally beaten down and crying, where pretty much I feel the art and animation really shined and elevated the performance. Like it was just pretty much in those final moments alone. It was some of those powerful moments I think we've had in all late episodes of Fire Force thus far, and it pretty much it elevated the performance, and it just showed that yeah, in the end, even if even despite how much Tamaki doesn't even like Shinra, she's basically just so emotionally broken. She is willing to put her entire faith in him at this point, even if it's to someone she doesn't like. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.